watching Michigan versus Alabama in the Rose Bowl, just bringing back memories for me because it was in 1990 that I covered my first Rose Bowl for the greatest student publication on college campuses everywhere, if I may say. The Michigan Daily was covering the 1990 Rose Bowl for Michigan, and it turned out to be Bo Schembechler's final game as head coach of the University of Michigan. And I'll never forget that day against USC. Michigan, the 3 yards in a cloud of dust, Bo Schembechler calling a fake punt with minutes to go to keep Michigan on the field. And it worked to perfection. Bo Schembechler, talk about a breaking of tendencies, calling a fake punt. And it worked only until there was a holding penalty called on Bobby Abrams, who played in the NFL for a while, including for the New York Football Giants. And it was a weird ticky-tack penalty that Bo Schembechler blew a famous gasket on and got a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty thrown on him because he threw his headset so hard he nearly fell and cartwheeled over ass over tea kettle on that one. And it was just an introduction for me in Rose Bowls that I covered, was physically there for, and just in general, more often than not, Michigan in bowl games, like last year's Fiesta Bowl, weird stuff happens. Some of it self-inflicted, like last year against TCU. Starting off, and J.J. McCarthy gets it down on the 1 yard line, and they call some weird trick play that causes them to lose yardage. They go for it anyway and come away with no points. And that started off a day where Michigan had touchdowns taken off the board by replay, only to fumble it the next play. Weird stuff happens. And as long as Michigan could avoid the weird stuff, I thought they had a chance to beat Alabama. And guess what happened in the game? Starting off, weird stuff. The first play looked perfect to me. I had a perfect angle of it. Michigan was coming towards me, and J.J. McCarthy had wide open receivers, and he held onto the ball for some reason too long and threw it late right to an Alabama defender. First play of the game, an interception.
That's so weird.
But thankfully, the Alabama defender was out of bounds and illegally touched the ball, and replay corrected it, only to have Michigan punt the ball away, play well defensively, and then fumble the ensuing punt themselves. Weird stuff was happening. And I'm like, oh, God, weird stuff is happening. Like a 15-yard penalty for a block for one of the Michigan players, I guess, hitting an Alabama player with his helmet. That blew up a drive. Then weird stuff like missing an extra point because the snap got rolled back. A missed field goal because there was a high snap. A flea flicker that didn't work. Let me just leave it at that. Fumbles and mistakes that Michigan hadn't made all year long. And I'm like, here we go. And just like the Alabama win over Auburn, where Milroe didn't look good for much of the game, just hang in there and then start making plays and take the lead, and that's what Alabama did. And I guess the Michigan versus everybody #bet Wolverines then came out. And that's what I was hoping for. That's what I was banking on. That's what everybody in Michigan world was thinking, that maybe this team is different. And even though the first several quarters of mistake that was tearing down what appeared to be some really ingenious play calling in the first half that Nick Saban must have sniffed out in the locker room, because that third quarter was all Alabama. And then Michigan changed the, if you will, wait for it, Todd. with a drive for the ages, where Harbaugh went for it on 4th and 2 in his own end with 4 minutes to go. And I love the decision. I thought to myself, that's a major problem normally, but maybe they'll just come up with a play call and go for it, because I didn't want them to punt it back. I didn't think they'd get another possession out of it the way that sometimes Milroe was running with the ball when he actually got a decent snap to him. That 4th down play, Blake Corums comes out of the flat, and he was wide open. It's because the Wolverines were scheming their heads off with motions and different formations and ways that we hadn't seen in the third quarter, and the ways that they clearly spent the 4 weeks leading up to the game trying to come up with stuff that Alabama didn't see. Corum didn't come out of the backfield very much at all season long to catch passes. He did here. And Roman Wilson came up with the play of his life 2 plays after another mistake of pushing an Alabama defender in the back when Michigan was driving down the field. I honestly thought when J.J. McCarthy let that pass go and Roman Wilson went up to get it, it was intercepted. That's the way it looked. And he not only grabbed that ball and high-pointed it, but gained about 10 more yards after it. Wound up scoring the touchdown 2 plays later. We go to overtime. And in that overtime, Michigan scored first and got a major break. One last bad snap at Jalen Milroe's feet on 4th down, and I think he panicked a little bit and decided to take it himself rather than go through with the play, which looked like it was going out to the flat. And Michigan actually wins the football game. I couldn't believe it right there in front of me. It was glorious. It was. And I understand Michigan is viewed nationally as a bunch of cheaters and is viewed nationally as a team that is not deserving of a lot of the kudos being thrown their way. And there's a large number of people that don't see it the way that I do. I totally get it. But for me, this is truly one of the greatest days of my entire life. And I had, because, Susie was there. My 3 kids were there. Michigan's name was painted in an end zone that I saw with my own 2 eyes painted there on when I was a senior covering the team. And for this team to keep doing what they are doing and to keep on going the way that they are going and keep on facing adversity, much of it, in many ways, I get it, self-inflicted. For them to keep doing what they are doing and going to the national championship game to take on a Washington team that is feeling the same way as Michigan, that they are a team of destiny, that they have everything going for themselves, for them to make it to this national championship game at the Rose Bowl, and the beautiful Rose Bowl, the greatest place to watch a college football playoff game. It was unbelievable for me. I will never forget it. It was one of the greatest days of my entire life, and I cannot say it enough. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in front of me, that this team overcame all the mistakes and overcame all of the adversity from this year to get to where they are. It's the greatest. And I can't be taken down a single peg or a single notch. It is exactly what I never thought would happen. Certainly a few years ago, the way that this program was going. So to Jim Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum and that defense, my God. Unbelievable. Spectacular.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I got a ton of texts from people as if I played.
Eisen Palooza.
That was that. It was Eisen Palooza. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.